From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, July the 11th, 2023. We open with the massive protests taking place in Israel today against the judicial overhaul efforts there. Tens of thousands of demonstrators took part in the so-called Day of Disruption against the government's efforts to push the judicial reforms forward, including the Knesset advancing the reasonableness bill late last night, which would end Israel's Supreme Court's ability to review and potentially revoke decisions by elected officials. Protesters today blocked major roadways and highways, mainly in Tel Aviv, and converged en masse on Ben Gurion International Airport. There were confrontations with Israel police, who used riot dispersement measures, including water cannons, and several arrests were made, as well as some injuries reported. The vote on the reasonableness bill, which went through just after midnight last night, was the first Knesset approval of a judicial overhaul bill since Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu put the legislation efforts on hold at the end of March. And the Times of Israel cited organizers of the anti-overhaul protests, saying they were issuing a final call for the government to stop the legislation, saying if the government doesn't stop, the whole country will stop. Hundreds of demonstrators also gathered outside the U.S. Embassy branch in Tel Aviv. The Times of Israel reported that the White House urged Israeli authorities to protect and respect the right of peaceful assembly, citing a National Security Council spokesperson saying it is clear there is significant debate and discussion in Israel on the proposed plan. Such debates are a healthy part of a vibrant democracy. And Netanyahu this morning met in Jerusalem with White House envoy Amos Hochstein, his office saying the two discussed regional issues and matters related to the close cooperation between the U.S. and Israel. Hochstein is the U.S. Special Presidential Coordinator for Global Infrastructure and Energy Security. Israel's Channel 12 reported that Hochstein and Netanyahu discussed the situation with Iranian-backed Lebanese-based terror group Hezbollah on Israel's northern border, as well as potential normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia. The 41st annual JCC Maccabi Games kicked off in Israel on Sunday with some 1,000 teenagers taking part from Israel, North America, Europe, and Morocco. The JCC said for the first time since 2011, JCC Maccabi Games are being held in Israel with plans to do so regularly. E-Jewish Philanthropy cited the head of JCC Maccabi, Samantha Cohen, saying they had to take a long pause from the games due to the coronavirus pandemic and had time to focus on the planning process. She said one of the things that came out of the plan was that we saw this huge opportunity to use the games, this platform that we have, as an opportunity to do even more with Israel engagement. There are 9 days of games in a variety of fields, which are followed by 12 days of touring around Israel. Israel's President Isaac Herzog addressed the participants in a video message at the opening ceremonies last night, saying, "On the field, on the court, in the rink, and as you tour our beautiful country, Israel, you will build the bridges of understanding, love, and affection with your fellow Jewish people." Well, for the first time since 1976, Israel has qualified for the men's soccer competition at the Summer Olympics taking place in Paris next year, thanks to qualifying during the recent Under-21 European tournament. Israel joins just 15 other countries in that competition. The Paris Games are set to take place from July the 26th through August the 11th of 2024. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, July the 11th. At 7 o'clock, Letty Cottin Pogrebin talks about her book Shanda with Rabbi Avraham Bronstein. At 7:30, Dr. Rachel Fish, Rabbi Dan Levin, and Rabbi David Woznica discuss how to define action for the Jewish people and the greater world in the current climate. At 9, Ellen Hershkin is on L'chaim. At 10, Rabbis Joshua Davidson, Matthew Gewirtz, and Tarlan Rabizadeh discuss the growing distance between North American liberal Jews and Israel. And coming up next, it's the ILTV's Insider. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, July the 11th, 2023. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.